and welcome to the very first episode of Revelry and Chill, the new podcast from what was Revelry Gaming, but I think now we're going with what? Revelry Entertainment?
Revelry Media.
Media? Yeah. You guys like media better?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a new show. If you're familiar with mine and Daniel's gaming podcast, this is a little bit different. We're going to start covering movies and TV, books, any other media outside of games. So that's pretty exciting. We're the only podcast on the internet that talks about movies and TV.
The only one.
Oh, for sure.
The only one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For
I'm
sure.
excited
About
for
to
how
be.
revolutionary this idea is. I don't know about you guys.
Definitely.
So quick introductions. If anyone's coming over from the gaming podcast, this is Daniel.
I'm Daniel.
You all know
What's
Daniel.
up?
He's Daniel, and he's great, and he's here. To my right is my lovely girlfriend, Haley, and she's joining us as well for the first time. To my left is my sister, Carolyn, and to her left is her hunky husband, Jake.
That's right.
For sure.
State Farm.
From State Farm. Yeah, Jake from State Farm.
Just gonna get that
Jake
out of the way
Snake.
right now.
Jake the Snake.
Get the State Farm thing out of the way right now, and then
Never again.
never again.
Oh, it's gonna keep going,
Oh,
Jake.
for sure.
Just because Daniel said that, now it's going to be forever. So again, if you guys are familiar at all with the gaming podcast, Jake was our sort of producer, audio guy behind the scenes. And here he is.
And laughing in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Not too loud though.
In case anyone was wondering who Jake was,
Yeah.
now you know.
That was me.
he's pretty hot, right?
Yeah.
So this first episode, we are covering the first half of the 4th season of Black Mirror.
Boom.
We all watched this and we really liked it a lot, and we just wanted to talk about it. And full disclosure, before we get into this, spoilers.
Yeah.
If you
So
haven't seen
many.
it, yes, all the spoilers.
So many spoilers.
So
Just spoiler city.
if you haven't seen it, turn this podcast off. And if you want to listen to people talk about it like we're about to, come back later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely come back later.
So,
It'll still be good though. I mean, you can spoil it all you want. It's still awesome.
Yeah, it is.
yeah, yeah. Should we start with maybe like if someone's listening to this and they don't know what Black Mirror is?
Yeah.
So
Probably.
what is Black Mirror?
It's kind of like the new version of Twilight Zone, based more around human interaction with technology, I guess.
Okay.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Human technology.
But it's
and
Twilight
stuff.
Zone-y in feel. Every episode is a different story. They're kind of horrific and scary and
They're very
thrillery
horrific.
a lot of the time. So
Yeah.
it's not a warm and fuzzy kind of show most of the
It's
time.
No, if you're looking to be happy,
You need
Go
to watch
somewhere
something else. Yeah.
Oh man.
Some of them are kind of warm and fuzzy.
Some
though.
of them.
Yeah, there was one this
Yeah.
season.
There was
that
like one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like those ones less.
Yeah.
that was one of my
I do too.
favorites, though. I liked that one. So
Okay.
The more fucked up, the better.
Yeah.
definitely.
A lot of people like to categorize it as like technology is evil is the main theme of this show, but I don't really think that's necessarily the case.
Not every episode, no.
I think it's more like an interesting look into like where technology could go, even though a lot of it is very far-fetched, but it plays on a lot of ideas of shit we already have going on
Oh,
right
for
now.
sure.
And it goes to the extreme end of that.
It's like worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, we
Yeah.
do have a history
God.
of taking things that are supposed to be genuinely helpful and turning them into weapons.
That's
Yeah.
true.
So it's not that far-fetched.
Does that a lot. It plays off that idea a ton. What? How could we weaponize this?
Yeah.
Well, let's do it
Exactly.
in the worst way possible. Okay.
Or just if it gets in the hands of someone with ill intent.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and usually the stories are a little more confined in that way. I think there's a few episodes I've missed in like season 3 where it was much higher scale than that. Right? Like one of them had to deal with genocide. Or
Yeah.
something
Oh,
like
yeah,
that. Isn't that right?
I didn't watch that one.
Yeah,
Man
me
on
either.
Fire? Or
Yeah, that was a horrific episode.
Yeah. But let's get right into the first season. Sorry, 4th season. First
Fourth
episode
season.
of the 4th season. So the first episode is called USS Callister, written by Charlie Brooker and William Bridges, directed by Toby Haynes, starring Jesse Plemons?
Jesse Plemons.
Plemons?
Matt Damon's evil twin.
Yeah. His slightly fatter,
Yeah, slightly-
less attractive older brother.
Yeah,
with a bad attitude.
definitely.
Also starring Kristen Milioti
Milioti.
and Jimmy Simpson. So a real quick synopsis of this episode is A woman wakes up on a Star Trek-esque ship where the crew praise their all-knowing and fearless captain aboard the USS Callister, Space Fleet's finest. So that's a very, very broad synopsis, but basically the premise of the episode is it opens up and you're following Jesse Plemons' character, who is Callister, right? That's his last name.
No, he's Robert Daly.
Yeah, Robert Daly.
Oh, does he name himself Callister?
No, Callister was
Callister's the ship.
Yeah.
The
Is
show
it just the ship?
from
Yeah.
the old show that he
It's also
liked
the
so
name-
much.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's the yeah. What was
also
the name,
the name of the company.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little backstory
The one that he co-founded.
is that he's co-owner in a tech company, and he's obsessed with this old show that's like the old Star Trek, and they're on the Callister, or somebody's name is Callister. Maybe that's the name of the show. But
swear
Callister is from the show. Mm-hmm. His name isn't Callister.
The ship is called the USS Callister.
Yeah. And
The
he
name of the
names
company,
it-
he names his company the Callister Incorporated.
Callister.
Yeah.
As a nod to the classic TV show that he's
He's
obsessed
obsessed with the classic TV show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyways, he's basically the designer of this virtual reality game.
called Infinity.
Yes.
Right.
And it's a very, very advanced form of basically VR, which that's why I thought this one was pretty interesting, because that's really what it was.
Yeah.
Right? Is really advanced VR. What is happening with your computer?
Snooze it.
No. No, that puts it to sleep. You need to pick a time.
No,
It
no,
didn't go to
it just,
sleep though.
I need to update my antivirus.
Okay. So if you're watching this, we're kind of assuming that you've seen the episodes as well, so you understand the premise.
Yeah.
So what did you guys think of this?
I loved this one. This was one of my favorite. I have top three. Well, I have a top three of this season.
I had
and
three
this
top
was-
threes.
Yeah, I have three top threes. No, and this was one of them. I mean, granted, it was the first one we saw, but I loved this one. I thought it was hysterical.
Seems to be
and
the universal
horrible.
consensus with people that watch this show.
Yeah.
It's everybody's favorite.
Yeah.
It was a
that's
great one.
Yeah.
Seems to be. It's definitely my favorite. For
Well, and
sure.
it's weird because it has that dynamic where, like, in the beginning of the episode, you feel kind of sorry for the owner / who's done this
He's a
horrible
CTO,
thing
Chief
to
Technical
him.
Officer.
Yeah,
Chief
and like
Callister
you feel bad
Incorporated.
for him, and you kind of like him, and then as the episode goes, you're like, oh my god, never mind.
Which is where I
dude's-
have problems with it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because in theory, like the people that so he figures out a way to take somebody's DNA and analyze it and create like a digital replica
Yeah.
inside a version of like a modded version of the Infinity game.
Yeah.
That only he can play. It's offline, so it never gets updated.
It's
so he
just
takes
his.
DNA from his coworkers that pretty much treat him like a piece of shit every day.
Yeah.
And he makes
Like he's not even there.
a replica inside the game, so he can just fucking abuse the shit out of him.
Yeah.
I will, and just treat him like shit because that's how they treat him in real life.
Yeah.
So then everyone starts feeling bad for the digital replicas because they're fucking not fucking real people. Like he's a real person. He goes in there to fucking relieve stress and fucking treat
Yeah.
these people like shit because
the-
that's how he gets treated every day
Yeah,
in real
you
live.
end up forgetting that too.
Yeah.
Through the episode, you end up
I
feeling
didn't.
more bad for them.
I was like, fuck, dude. And then by the end of the episode, we're spoiling, right?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
He gets
Shit out of
left.
this
He
thing.
gets left fucking in limbo because they escape through the update.
Yeah.
It's kind of a.
He
you
kind
gotta
of
watch
gets the shit
episode.
end of the stick.
It's like
or
a black
Yeah.
hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets stuck pretty much in his VR game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
In
the
a
game
tiny
updates
little
and
ship
deletes
in
everything.
outer
He's just
space.
stuck in there. He's
Yeah.
stuck in space. And he's actually a real person. And then you're supposed to be like happy that these fake digital people got away. Like, I don't know. I thought it was kind of
They'll
fucking
probably
retarded.
find his body inside his apartment with the VR thing
Yeah.
in his head, just kind of,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the
zonking
problem
at some
lies
point.
in the point where the fact these people have feelings and emotions. They're not just bots. They're actual
yeah,
consciousnesses.
they've got all the memories.
Yeah.
From
And
Which
then
is
you
pretty
have
fucking
to-
insane technology.
Yeah.
He would win a fucking goddamn Nobel Prize for that kind of shit.
Well, and then you're
So-
forced to choose between. So, do you care about real human consciousness, as in him being in the game, or created human consciousness that doesn't exist outside of the game?
Yeah.
Like they're still not even aware and walking around in the world, and they're fine.
Yeah.
But that version of them isn't fine. So you have this weird dynamic where you have to decide which you care about more. And for the majority of people, I think you end up feeling bad for the crew and you forget that they're not the real, the real them is fine.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I actually like that point
Yeah.
because,
Yeah.
like, they portray that they can feel like those little miniature versions of their consciousness, which it was an ongoing kind of thing.
yeah.
Or theme in the whole season was like, part of someone's consciousness.
Right.
But like, should you really feel bad for it?
No, I
it's
didn't.
They're
Like,
still
they're fucking not real fucking people, man.
They don't have.
You can shut off the server and they cease to
exist.
exist. So
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, but they feel pain.
how do you know?
Well,
Well,
not
I mean,
actually
she's
real.
like
They-
suffocating
yeah.
to death.
they didn't really explain
When
what
he takes
happens.
her
But he
face.
says they can't
Yeah.
actually die because they
They
can't
can't.
fucking actually die.
Yeah.
Because they're
Yeah.
not fucking real. They're
Yeah.
just digital replicas.
Yeah, that's nuts.
So he get kept like that in a constant state of suffocating, but she's not a real person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A real person would straight up die if they don't get air.
Well, yeah,
That's just how
obviously.
fucking life works.
Well, that's what makes it so bad is that there's no escape.
Yeah.
yeah, I get that, but I felt
Yeah.
bad for him. He gets treated like shit every fucking day. Fuck
in
those
real
people.
life.
Yeah, I was
Fuck
really-
real life.
I was really, really sad to see that he was kind of a creep because I was kind of hoping to see it break some stereotypes
Yeah.
about coders, it was a little
Yeah.
disappointing to see that he was actually portrayed as the villain
Yeah.
in this episode.
Yeah. I thought maybe he'd have a redeeming moment or something like that. But I kind of agree with you now that you bring it up, Daniel. Like,
Yeah.
like who fucking cares? The real version of themselves is still out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess
That's
I didn't
true.
look
He
at
didn't
it that
actually
way.
blow a real kid out the airlock.
Yeah.
It's a fucking fake person. It's just
Yeah.
like killing motherfuckers in Call
Yeah.
of Duty.
Yeah, and
Not
the
real
real
people.
dude out in the real world doesn't even know what's happening. So
Right.
is
Just
it
because the
that
AI
horrific?
is
Yeah.
like super fucking advanced is pretty much
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
that fucking
That's
shit
true.
is. Which, like I said, if he actually had that technology, win a goddamn Nobel Prize or something for
Yeah.
that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesse Plemons was like amazing as far as acting goes. in
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah.
He's
he
a
would
great
completely
actor.
change his demeanor, and he would
Yeah.
stand up straighter, and he would kind of talk a little different.
Yeah.
a lot more. He was a lot more succinct,
Like
and he
in-
knew
in
exactly what he
command.
wanted.
Yeah.
in
Well, he's
command
a
as
great
opposed to
actor.
his
Like,
other
if
side that was just like,
anybody-
I don't know what I'm doing.
If anybody watches Fargo, he was in a season of
Yeah.
Fargo and he
Good
was
Lord.
great in that too. He's a great actor.
God,
But
he's a
Yeah, I
killer.
didn't know what else he was in.
yeah.
Yeah,
I just thought it was Matt Damon for like 2 minutes. And then,
I even Googled to see if they were related.
man.
Oh,
Sure.
yeah, we did too.
I wonder if anybody ever asks Matt Damon, "Hey, you related to that Jesse Plemons
Right? They're
guy?"
like cousins or something.
I thought maybe it was like his stunt
Twice his
double.
This guy.
Right? I bet that's interesting. He'd be a great stunt
His
double.
frumpy short stunt double.
they made him look real ugly and nerdy too.
Yeah.
Like
For
in
sure.
the
They
real
did.
world, and then
They
yeah.
did.
Yeah.
But yeah, super interesting because it really was just what I feel possibly could be an evolution of VR.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Possibly.
Oh, yeah.
It's really not that far off to
I mean,
think
it,
that.
yeah, like it's hard to say, but with science fiction, it's like, 50 years ago, dude, this kind of shit was science fiction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
That's why this show's so cool, is because it doesn't feel like 20 years down the road, I have this shit. This
Well,
exact
if you
stuff
watch Star Trek The Next Generation, pretty much all things in there have come to pass.
have come
Yeah.
to pass. Yeah.
It's true.
So I'm waiting for the food replicator.
Oh, I want that. I was just thinking
And the
the same
holodeck.
thing.
And the
Oh,
holodeck.
want that
And then
food
you'll never
replicator.
see me again. I'll just be in the holodeck getting
Exactly.
shit-faced every
Right.
day.
Yeah, see, that actually brings me to a question that I wanted to ask you guys. Like, if you had the option, would you choose to mainly live in that kind of virtual reality when you could control the world? Would you kind of clock out every day when
let's
you got
go one
home?
at a time here.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jake?
I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Knowing that it's not real. Nah.
I don't
Can't
know
handle
if
it.
I like it. Like, I feel like it's a good escape, but like, I don't know. I like the real world.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would be that inclined to like live in something like that.
I might give it a try.
Unless the world like all of a sudden got terrible, then yeah.
Oh, shit,
But
yeah.
it's not totally right now. I like it still.
So let's just to clarify, you're asking if we would mainly want to live in a place like that?
Yeah, like if you would go to work and then come home and then that's where you would reside for all the time that you had of your own.
No, I don't think
I
I'd
would
do
say
that.
no.
No.
In the way my current life is,
Yeah.
no. Because I have you, we have a house together, we have all these pets and shit. Like, I think it's kind of the same thing as them. Like, it'd be fun to do it.
Yeah.
Like if it
Sure.
was just a game you could play, sure. And maybe sometimes I'd get sucked in there a little too long, But yeah, I wouldn't want to do that permanently. So no, not at all.
Well, if they made a game though that you could like get yourself hurt, like I could like ride bikes and really fuck myself up on a bike, and then it didn't matter.
That would be nice.
Oh baby, I might try that. Holy
I would
hell.
prefer for your injuries to be virtual
I'm really sick
as
of getting
opposed to
injured.
real.
All right, Dr. Payne.
Exactly.
Right? We'll get to that later.
What about you, Daniel?
No, I wouldn't want to permanently live in there or totally. It'd be like just like how I play games now for fun. So it'd be the same thing, just be more advanced.
Yeah.
Like, and then that was another cool point at the end of the episode, or I thought it was like a cool idea, but then I realized it's just pretty much what the game is they eventually escape from him, but they end up in the actual game, like the actual server-based game.
Yeah.
So they get a procedurally generated world to explore. So these fake versions of those characters are just, in the game cruising around. I'm like, well, that'd be kind of cool, cruising around fucking space, exploring shit.
That
And I
was
was
a
like, well,
cool
wait a minute, that's
ending.
pretty much what the game is. So if you're a fucking real person, you could still fucking have that, but you could also unplug and still live in
Did you guys
reality.
notice that
Exactly.
voice at the end? The person they were going to trade with, and they were all happy. Oh yeah, let's try communicating with somebody, and it was just some dick.
Yeah.
And
That
it was
awesome.
what's his name from Breaking Bad?
Jesse?
Oh, Jesse.
Yeah, Jesse. I don't
Is
know. I
that
can't
who it
remember that
was?
dude's
Oh,
name.
what's his name?
Fucking douchey.
Yeah, doesn't he make some weird like game lingo fucking reference or something?
I
like,
think so.
You fucking nerd or like
Right?
you AFK or something.
Something
or,
like that.
Yeah, something like
some
that.
abbreviation.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I thought that I know that you were saying earlier that this was one of actually, let's revert your question back to you.
I personally wouldn't like it. I mean, I feel like it would also kind of place a health issue if people did spend too much time on it, and it'd probably end up being kind of addicting.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
You'd have these like ripped up dudes inside the game, and you go outside the game, and they're just like 600-pound
They're like the
blobs
fat
outside.
people from Wally.
Or they're just malnourished as fuck because they
They got a
don't
Wally
eat.
situation happening.
Got feeding tubes hooked up to them while they play the game.
Right? Exactly.
I guarantee that would happen.
See, and that's where it gets interesting. Like if games come to a point where they are that immersive, like people have already died playing video games.
Yeah.
Like people playing fucking World of Warcraft for 18 hours straight.
Yeah.
that can't help the body count.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, but I don't know if you're dumb enough to prioritize.
To jump over to another show, Stargate actually has episodes where they have like a VR world and they get trapped in it, but they have that VR world because their world is actually destroyed.
Right.
So they pretty much upload all their consciousness. They're all like in pods.
Yeah.
It's like the Matrix.
Because
Yeah.
it's easier to sustain them in there because the planet is fucked up. And there's
Yeah.
no fucking
Isn't that
surviving
kind of
on
the
actual
premise
planet.
for Ready Player One too?
I don't know.
No,
I've
that's
never read it.
no, that's the world's kind of like fucked up, but they do that as like escapism. And then the guy that created the game, like, is giving his keys to his empire, like, to somebody who can like solve or beat the game.
Right.
So that's like what everybody's competing for in that.
That movie looks sweet, by
Yeah,
the
it
way.
does.
Fuck yeah, I'm excited
does.
for that fucking
Yeah, it's
movie.
gonna be the shit. Or it might suck.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to be as good as the book, but it never is.
It never is.
But it'll
yeah.
probably entertain me.
Yeah,
So
that's
was
okay
this
too.
episode anybody's like most favorite of the season?
I really liked this episode, but like
Yeah.
I said, I just thought it was kind of silly that they're like, oh, you should feel bad for these fake fucking people that don't really exist.
It's a good point. Yeah.
it
Like
is.
I like Haley's point too, because I felt the same way that it's like they still are in there and they feel like they are real people and they're a part of their consciousness, but really they're not.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of
I guess it depends on how you want to define consciousness.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a silly question to ask because
It's kind of hard for them to be real when the real person's actually real somewhere else.
Exactly. Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, you were saying earlier that like a lot of people will say that this is their favorite one.
Yeah.
This was definitely not my favorite one.
Really?
And I don't really know why, but
It had a warm, fuzzy ending, so it wasn't my
did.
favorite.
It did.
yeah, and it was, I don't know.
Not
It
really.
just-
That guy's fucking trapped in his apartment,
Not
stuck
for that
inside
guy.
his fucking VR game.
I kind of felt okay about that. Fucking real.
Daniel
He's
over there
fucked.
sympathizing
Yeah,
with
for
the
sure.
enemy.
He's really not the enemy.
That's
I
kind of
know,
the thing.
it's great.
That's what's cool about this show, I think, in general.
It
is
makes you
really,
question things you
really
wouldn't
makes
usually.
Everything
think, like,
he's doing
whoa.
is completely legal. He's in a
Exactly.
digital world abusing
Exactly.
people. He's not
Yeah.
out murdering and fucking people up in the real,
That's
the
He's
real
got some
world.
privileges because he made it up.
Yeah,
so like he's
it's his.
like blanking people's
Yeah.
faces out and shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Fuck, I mean, I'd do that shit. I'd do some fucked up shit if
Oh,
it was
yeah.
a virtual environment. Why not?
There'd
Fuck
be
it.
some
Right.
stuff.
I know I should be afraid of you.
Go in there and fucking
real.
beat the shit out of whoever's pissing you off that day.
Or maybe just grow some balls and stand up for your damn self.
Yeah. That's what I was
That's
hoping he was going
true.
to do, but
Yeah,
All right, let's move on.
All right.
cool.
Episode 2 is called Archangel, written by Charlie Brooker, directed by Jodie Foster.
Yeah.
Now, is
love
this the
Jodie.
Jodie Foster we all know
Jodie.
and don't really love?
I love
reason.
Jodie
Foster.
I love
Foster.
Jodie Foster. What are you talking about?
Long distance high five, bro. I love Jodie Foster.
Okay.
I more meant that as like a where the fuck has she been?
Directing.
lately?
Directing.
That's what she
Yeah,
does
that's
now.
really what she
What
does
else
now.
has she directed?
She directed some movie with
Mel Gibson in it.
Mel Gibson where he talks to a bear or something like that.
Oh yeah, I don't think I ever watched that.
And he's got an Australian accent.
Dude,
Yeah.
Mel
It's
Gibson is a
weird.
character.
He's a character.
I love Mel Gibson.
Yeah,
man.
Mel.
I don't care what he says.
Give me
He's
some
fucking
Mel.
awesome.
Starring Rosemary DeWitt, Brenna Harding, and Owen Teague. Or Teague.
I
Possibly.
think you're right.
And
Slight
the-
lead.
The premise of this episode is after nearly losing her daughter, a mother invests in a new technology that allows her to keep track of her and much more. So when it says that she nearly lost her daughter, it was literally like they were in a park and her daughter fucking wandered off like kids do,
Chasing a cat.
and her mom shit her pants.
Yep.
So
Best synopsis I've ever seen.
Normal mom situation, I feel like.
So mom shit her
So what does the mom do? Completely loses her shit and goes
100%.
fucking all the way off the reservation.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe she was teetering.
Yeah.
She may have been teetering.
And
Press
basically,
record already, lady.
Archangel is basically a system in which she puts an implant in her kid and can see through her eyes and experience what she's experiencing through this little tablet. So Archangel is the program, essentially, that allows her to do that. And you can't reverse it. So this kid, as she grows up, her mom can basically see anything that's happening to her throughout her whole life. And as she gets older, that's where it gets...
Well, not only
Weird.
that, but she can see it, but also control what she's seeing.
Yeah, she
which is
can-
the more fucked up part.
blur out what she doesn't want her kid to see or experience, which gets a little weird. And
yeah, that's
then she goes through a phase where her daughter gets old enough that she stops using it. She turns it off, stops using it, and then goes back to it, and chaos ensues at that point.
yeah.
domestic chaos. So
Yeah.
at
What was
least.
the rise in what was it, endorphins or something, where and it would blank out whenever there was a rise of a spike in some
Like
sort of
It was like a
Adrenaline.
stress.
it was
Yeah.
a stress hormone or
Yeah.
something would get secreted
Yeah.
and that would blank out whatever was freaking her out.
Yeah.
Yeah, like one of the not continuous repeating shots in the episode was her as a little girl walking by the fence,
Yeah.
and it was a blurred out barking dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I thought that was kind of odd, just because like you could still kind of see what it was, right?
Yeah.
But I guess she didn't know what a dog was. Like, I don't know. I felt like they were kind of unclear on that. And
I
thought
don't think it was meant to make it so she didn't know what it was. I think it was meant to alleviate the stress and the fear that goes along with a
Make it
scary
not look as
dog
scary.
barking in your
Yeah.
face.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
But I don't
get
know, a
that.
fucking kind of a mumbling fucking blob of colors is kind of more scary.
That would
Exactly,
freak me out
dude.
more,
I'd be
yeah.
like, what the fuck's going on over here, dude?
yeah.
Yeah.
For real, dude. Like,
Right? She
seriously fuck your
investigates
head
and
up.
gets her hand bit off by
You know,
a
and
dog.
then she goes like what, like 10 years or
Yeah.
12 years or whatever without using the Archangel program tablet and everything to keep track of her.
Yeah.
And then she's gone and doesn't call for a few hours.
Yeah.
And her mom fucking loses her shit and immediately starts the thing back up to track her down.
While she's fucking
And
her
then starts
boyfriend.
approaching fucking her,
Right? What a great way to lose your virginity.
Right?
Yeah.
While your mom's watching.
Yay.
yeah, like, yeah, I had problems with this episode too. I have a lot of problems with a lot of this show, but
Really?
yeah.
Nice.
That's
I
good.
like it.
That's good
Yeah.
that
It's a
you.
good
Yeah,
thing.
I know you were saying that it wasn't your favorite ever.
No.
So it's not my favorite ever either.
No, it wasn't my favorite.
Yeah.
It's not in the top 3.
No.
I should point out,
I'd say
I'm
it's
pretty
in the
sure they
bottom
do
three.
have tracking systems for kids, but I think the thing that makes this one weird is where they can block out certain things.
And that they can see everything that's happening,
who in their
especially as
right
they get
mind
older.
would do that to their child? Like that's how
Yeah.
you learn. That's how you grow. Is,
Exactly.
getting over shit. And she got over the dog. When she turned it off, she walks by the dog every day. She's kind of weirded out by it. And then eventually she's like, "What's up, Pete?" I think the dog's name's Pete.
Yeah.
She's like, "What's up, Pete?" And pets the dog.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's especially relevant right now, though, because we live in a world where parents are not like how ours were. It's like we could go.
Cool,
We
go do
spent
whatever you want.
hours and
Come home with
hours
the streetlights are on.
outside as long as you come in before it
Yeah.
gets dark outside. Like the whole helicopter parent thing now
Yeah, it kind of
didn't exist when
Wait,
we
what?
were kids. Helicopter parents.
What the fuck is that?
You don't know what a
They
helicopter?
hover
Oh God! Okay.
Hover.
They're involved in everything their kid does, and is basically they're so afraid of something bad happening to their kid, they shelter them in a severe
they
way.
don't experience
It's
life.
happening way more than it used to happen when
Yeah.
we were kids.
Makes sense.
So it is kind of relevant in that this is the natural progression of things, is that it's not that weird for somebody to come up with something where you can watch everything that happens to them and control what they see and what they hear and what they don't.
Sidebar: what's up with your internet, Danny?
Is it fucking up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, bro. I'm not on the
bro.
internet.
You're the only one on the internet right now, Daniel.
Sorry, I'm trying to change the setting on her computer, but so this was no one was really crazy about this one then.
No, I'd
Is that
say
what
it's
I'm
one of my
gathering?
bottom. If we're ranking it 1 to 6 in episodes, I'd say it's bottom 3.
Really?
Yeah.
me
Somewhere in the
too.
bottom 3.
It's like 4 or 5 for me. I think.
4 or 5 maybe.
Yeah.
I thought the story was like pretty well told.
Yeah, it was.
From that standpoint, I think it was good, but
Yeah, but I just want to punch the mom the whole fucking
The whole
time.
time.
Yeah.
which is actually a really good thing. Like that's
That's
good
good.
character development.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
hate
Yeah,
a
and then
character.
what? And then so the mom does that, and then fucking so the daughter's just like, yeah, fuck my mom, I'm out. I'm gonna go become a truck stop whore and just fucking bones the
pretty much
fuck
what she
out at
does,
the end. It's like,
Well, and I did think it was a little heartbreaking to be like that last scene where she's beat the shit out of her mother and
With the
leaves.
tablet.
And then her mom
Very-
goes running out the front door screaming for her kid.
at that
It's like,
moment when she was beating her mom with the tablet, I thought that fucking filter mode was gonna get stuck
Right,
on,
for real.
which would
Me
be
too,
my
yeah.
fucking nightmare.
Yeah. But
Like,
it was
goddamn.
kind of sad. It's like I have
Having
a
your
really
shit-
good relationship with my mom, so that part was like heartbreaking. When it's a mom and a kid, it's still like, as much as either one might fuck up, it's awful. Still.
I'd never beat my mom over
No,
the face with
oh
a
my
fucking
God.
tablet.
Tablet.
Jesus.
I would, if I ever
Good
did that to
Lord.
my mother, I would go get myself hit by a truck
I
after
don't know. If she
that.
put an implant in me that ruined basically every experience I'd ever had, she might.
You get both sides really well in the episode, though. You end up feeling really bad for both of them.
Yeah.
And it's just, it spirals so far out of either of their control. It's sad.
No, that mom could have fucking drilled that fucking tablet right
Yeah,
when
she
she decided
really
to
should
stop
have.
using it. That's what she should have done.
Yeah.
She
Should
should
have
have
been
destroyed
snapped in
it.
half a long
Yeah.
time
Should have
ago.
destroyed it if she knew she's like, all right, yeah, we're just gonna let you live normal again.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's true.
Like,
Shouldn't
why
have-
keep the fucking tablet?
She
That's the
shouldn't
plan.
have put it in the junk box.
Yeah.
yeah,
in
she
the
should have
garage
just
or
fucking
whatever.
destroyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously she has intentions of using it again if she keeps the fucking tablet.
Oh, for sure.
Fucking stupid. Fuck that shit.
I thought there was actually like a fairly large plot hole toward the end when it like she had beat her over the face with it and then the thing was broken.
Yeah.
Right? I remember looking over at Haley when we were watching it and I was like, why the fuck can't she get another one?
Right.
But I had missed like this very small part where they said they had discontinued
Yeah,
the
they
program.
outlawed it.
They made it,
It was,
illegal or
well,
something.
and not
right?
even,
Yeah.
Show,
banned
yeah.
in a lot
Yeah,
of
they
countries.
banned
Oh,
it.
banned. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was good. At first, I really didn't like it because of that. Because
Yeah.
I just thought it was this huge plot
Which that,
hole. Like,
that was a cool idea. That the government actually bans it. You know, like, oh, these governments are actually thinking.
Yeah.
yeah.
For once.
Well, I almost
Smart governments in this fictional
in this
world.
universe.
Yeah.
Well, I almost feel like it could be like it could create a sociopath. Like
Oh, for
if
sure.
Yeah.
everything traumatic in your life was blurred out and desensitized,
How do
you
you
think
function?
you would be?
Yeah.
Well, at one point she's like making
Fascinated by
herself. She's like poking herself in the finger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
the-
making herself actually bleed.
Yeah.
It's blurring it out.
Didn't she like cut her wrists at
Yeah,
one
or
point
something like
because
that.
because
she
she's
just-
like so
she just keeps-
fascinated with the blood?
Yeah.
She keeps stabbing her fingers with a pencil.
Oh,
Yeah.
is it that
Yeah,
what it
she's
was?
makings of a
stabbing herself
Okay.
with a pencil.
Yeah.
And it's all blurred and blocked out. Like, yeah, that'd be a big problem.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if you get
Oh,
hurt
yeah.
or something, you don't know you're all fucked up because you never seen blood before.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, my arm's all blocky again. That can't be good.
Yeah.
My arm's all blocked again.
I should probably go to the hospital for that.
Hey, I made my arm all blocky again.
My arm just went digital. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Weird.
I'm all pixely.
Goddamn textures aren't loading in again. My arm's on PUBG.
It's buffering. My arm is
buffering
buffering.
Right.
So yeah, but one of the really fucked up scenes too, and why I think it would be really, really bad, like just a fucking terrible idea in general with the censoring thing, is when her fucking grandpa starts having a stroke.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot
And,
about that
and the
part.
only reason he was saved is because her mom like happened to notice that, you
There
know,
was an
It does an
endorphin
alert,
spike or
yeah.
whatever. And it
Yeah.
had the alert.
yeah, which I guess is good. Like he still got saved, I suppose, but like
Yeah.
I think a normal kid would know to just like, you know, call the cops or
Yeah.
call their mom or something like that.
Yeah.
You know? Because what if she was away from her little stupid tablet and the girl was just like, oh, there's a big blob right there.
Yeah,
and
because she just
sometimes I see
walks
that.
away from him. She doesn't
Yeah.
know what he is. He like disappears kind of. And it's weird because she does just go, okay, and walks out of the room.
Yeah,
It's weird.
but she's like slightly nervous.
Yeah.
So her little tablet goes off, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Fuck, dude, this fucking old
Yeah,
geezer's
and then-
gonna die."
And then going
Right?
back to that same thing is like once her grandfather does die, her mom's mourning at the graveyard or whatever, and it blocks out her mom's face because she's crying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you're like,
yeah.
oh, that's kind of fucked up. You don't get to see that like emotion, or
Yeah.
reaction.
Yeah, like a real emotional
You don't
reaction.
develop like a real human
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah, it's fucked up. No, we were the same way, Daniel. Like the whole time watching that, me and Haley were like, "I want this mother to die."
I wanted that. Episode, I wanted that episode to fucking end. I was just
Yeah.
like, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it
it
was
was-
a tough one.
Yeah, and that's what's funny about it though is like we hate the
It
characters
was still
and all
a
this
great
shit.
episode of TV. It was
Yeah.
really interesting. We ended up hating characters. It
great.
was still a great episode.
If you
Yeah.
get me to hate a character, I think you probably did your job.
Yeah, you've done it well.
About every
Yeah.
time. If I don't like that character, it's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, I'm gonna say fuck that episode.
Yeah, it was
'cause-
not one of my
Yeah, fuck that
favorites.
episode.
No one else saw that.
Well, should we move on?
I saw it.
The coffee slipped out.
There goes Daniel.
There goes Daniel. Hold on.
This isn't the most organized video podcast. Right now, Daniel's moving back into frame. There's also cats. There was a cat earlier.
Yeah.
We have 4 cats in this house, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for one of them to rub
Don't
on the
tell
tripod
anybody.
and knock the camera
Oh,
over.
Mally almost
Dude,
did earlier.
I'm really worried about that. Yeah, like I hope the camera. If the camera
see.
falls, sorry.
That's okay.
It'll be great.
It'll make for good entertainment.
It
Yeah,
will.
it's good stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, until the camera breaks.
yeah.
Ooh.
You just take it back and be like, "This is broken."
Amazon, fix
Please
this.
give
How'd
me
it break?
a new
I don't
one.
know.
It
Well,
just,
it did break. I
It
know
Just
that.
got around to
broken one
opening it.
day.
I got it for Christmas. I've been on vacation.
I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened. You
I'll
fix
do
now.
it. I'm good at lying.
please fix this.
You're a good swindler, Daniel.
I like
Yeah.
swindling companies.
All right, moving on. All right. Episode 3. I think this will be the last one we cover in this episode.
Yeah.
We'll break it up and post them.
Yeah.
We'll do a part 2 to air next week
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
this one does.
So episode 3, written once again by Charlie Brooker, directed by John Hillcoat,
Yes.
starring Andrea Riseborough,
Holy shit, that's cold.
Kieran Sonia, and Sawar and Andrew Gower or Gower. These are some strange
it's
names.
Kieran Sonia Sawar is her full name, and Andrew
Oh, my
Gower.
mistake. My mistake.
It's you and your 3 names.
Why you need 3 names?
You think you're better than me? Do 3 names?
And in this episode, a woman interviews various people using a device that allows her to access their memories in video form. And the episode starts with a couple hitting a cyclist while recklessly driving down a snowy canyon doing drugs. In a
Like
van-
you
They
do.
did drugs and then they were driving
Yeah.
home.
Or
No.
they were drunk. I don't know.
In
I
a
thought they were
panic, they
doing it-
toss the body into the ocean, or it's a lake, and go on about their lives. So that's how it starts.
Yeah, it's like, well, this is going to be a great fun day for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they hit the biker. He's all mangled and dead
man.
and shit.
Yeah.
And then they toss him into the lake in a sleeping bag, And
They threw him in a bag.
Yeah.
yeah, and they're clearly high as fuck.
And freaking the fuck
Freaking
out.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scratching their necks and fucking being meth heads.
Yeah, well, she doesn't
I
want to
think it
do
was
it.
ecstasy. Yeah, I think
You think it was
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah, because they were like partying.
Yeah, they
and
were at
shit,
like a
huh?
rave
There
or
was,
a
like, fucking
concert
techno
or
and shit.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
ecstasy.
This is why you
Yeah.
don't go to raves.
Maybe some
kids.
acid, you know.
Yep. So moving forward, the episode kind of goes forward in time, like some 15 years or something like that, or 10 years, whatever it
think
is.
15.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the woman, it was a man and a woman who hit. It was a couple. And the woman is married to someone entirely different at this point, has a kid, and she's very, very successful in like.
Architectural world.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And the guy isn't really in the picture anymore, but he comes back to the woman eventually and says, I'm going to confess our crime.
Yeah.
And so she tries to talk him out of it because, she was involved and he was going to mention her name as well. And she's like, nope, fuck that. And kills him.
Yeah.
I got a fucking life.
No.
Good night.
He says he's not going to mention that she was there originally. He's like, I'm not going to say that you were there, but that'll obviously come out anyways because her DNA would be on the body and shit.
Yeah.
And
Oh, okay.
then-
Figure that out.
Oh, yeah, because the body's found and all that.
Yeah,
other
and
stuff.
apparently, I mean, you find this out shortly after this part, but obviously the technology to, go through somebody's memories exists.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
eventually it's going to come out that she was there.
Yeah.
She has a life now. She's
Yeah,
a,
which we don't know.
she's a brilliant
at that
architect.
point
She has
that
a
they can do
daughter,
that.
all that kind of shit. So she loses her shit and kills the dude.
Yeah.
Right.
And she keeps killing people
And then,
in order to
and,
cover
and,
it up.
and in
The
doing
whole
so,
episode.
she looks outside and she witnesses a car accident or a self-driving delivery truck hit a guy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how this all comes out, is because that insurance investigator is going through and finding anybody that might have had eyewitness accounts of it and using this device to go through their memories to see, and get evidence.
Building a case.
Yeah, building the case.
Yeah.
And then she eventually gets back to this girl and kind of
and
forces
sees
her to,
her memories,
Yeah,
and then she sees what happens,
Yeah.
and it snowballs from there.
Yep.
And, yeah, I find this all hard to believe. Somebody's gonna become a fucking crazy killer. She fucking straight plots to kill some motherfuckers because
Yeah, it gets gnarly by the end.
I don't know. I find that
She
hard
seems
to believe.
to lose all hold on reality. Kind
Yeah.
of. She kind of just loses her mind.
And somebody this
and
brilliant,
gets
a brilliant
obsessed.
architect
Yeah,
is going to lose
is
her shit
willing
and,
to-
and go stupid, insane, and kill all these people, knowing that the technology to go through memories exists. You'd have to be a goddamn
kind of
fucking idiot. This is
unfeasible.
this is like a kind of a shitty version of Minority Report.
Yeah. It is, because in reality it's she wasn't driving the car that hit the bicyclist. She the whole time is going, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this. So in reality, she'd be in trouble, but I don't think she'd go to prison for throwing the bicyclists into the lake.
You don't think she would?
No, I think she was an accomplice and was high and wasn't normal, and it was his idea. He's who hit the bicyclist.
Yeah,
So I
just
think
throw
he
the
would
dude under the
probably go to
bus
prison and she could get a plea
be all right,
deal
probably.
to testify against him and would be fine. That's reality, probably.
That's probably.
So
I mean,
it is kind of unfeasible that she would go to such great lengths to cover up something.
Yeah, you're going to cover up with a murder you didn't actually really have anything to do with.
Exactly. She
Aside
was
from
just
being there?
Yeah.
By murdering.
Yeah, by
three
murdering,
others.
3 other people,
Yeah.
including a baby.
Logic.
Yeah.
See, but people snap though.
That's true. And she does. You can tell. She's lost her shit.
I have a hard time getting on board that it's not feasible when we're talking about a show that has the first episode deal with
VR shit.
incredibly advanced VR. Of course it's not feasible.
Right. But
So-
in this world, it's like every episode you're in some different universe, kind of. And in this one, it's really close to reality.
But if they're letting insurance agents go
True.
around with this technology to replay through memories, you got to fucking know, what do the cops have?
yeah, exactly.
like-
For real.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
The rule would be totally different. So you're like, the idea of murdering somebody, you'd have to be fucking smart and plan that shit out, not just roll up to fucking dude's house and fucking whack him over the head with a fucking tack hammer while fucking baths.
It is quite apparent in this
Bathes.
episode that she's lost her fucking mind by the end of it. She's
that's-
out of control.
I mean, the more you have, the bigger you are, the harder you fall.
Yeah, it's true.
And maybe I think that maybe was what they were counting on, is like, she doesn't want to lose all of her success.
Yeah.
And so she's willing to go a little extra.
I do love that the hamster or guinea pig or whatever it is what gets her at the end.
Yeah.
I love that part.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
They
Way to
put-
go,
I-
guinea
I thought that was
pig.
pretty. I
When
thought
they
that was
pop-
pretty funny.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Done in by the hamster.
Right. Yeah.
They'll just pop that thing on anybody.
Yeah.
On anything.
It kind of makes you question too, like how moral or how morally sound that is. Be like, oh yeah, let me just access your memory.
Yeah, fuck that.
No.
And then
Bitch.
that person can do whatever they want with what they see. I don't think that
Yeah, get the
that
fuck outta here.
violates a
Not
whole lot of
necessarily constitutional.
HIPAA guidelines.
I don't
I
think
feel
you can do
like
that. You
Fuck
you-
that
you
world
can
in
live that
general.
here.
I don't want to live
Yeah, I
there.
don't want to
Yeah,
live there
fuck
either.
that world.
Okay, so was this anybody's favorite or in the top three?
I thought it was pretty. It was
It
shot
was.
really
It was
well.
shot really well.
I thought it looked amazing, but
This was probably my second favorite.
Really?
Yeah, just because like I understand where you guys are coming from, where it's maybe not feasible that she'd do all this shit, but at the same time, I think there's people it happens to. People fucking snap
That's
sometimes.
true.
So like I just loved how the fucking course of the episode of everything she was doing got more and more just completely fucked up.
every single
Like,
time she
she
did something, it
ends-
was worse.
The last killing she
It's
makes
awful. Yeah.
is a child, like a
Like a
toddler.
toddler, like a 1.5, 2-year-old.
They don't show how she kills it though, huh?
No, they don't.
Bummer.
But yeah, like she walks into the toddler's room
Yeah.
just because the toddler saw her and
Yeah.
she knows her memory
Well,
can be
and the
accessed.
saddest part is that I don't know if anybody else caught it, but the toddler was blind and didn't see her anyway.
Didn't see shit.
Oh right,
Yeah.
that's
Didn't
right.
have to.
Which makes it even more sad. You're like,
Yeah.
oh Jesus.
Yeah.
But yeah, they show it was just a haunting scene. Like she walks in there,
Yeah.
and then it cuts to sometime after. So you're like, did she fucking kill that kid or not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it goes back, and the police are there, and they're like, "Who the hell would kill a kid?"
Yeah.
And
She's
you're
just-
like, "Oh my god, she fucking killed her."
It's like a perfect. Well, that escalated quickly.
Exactly. She's like trying to chase the string. They've
almost
pulled
like
the string of the
understanding.
sweater, and she's trying to put it back. Oh god, and it just
Yeah.
has to keep getting worse and worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
It was. I thought it wasn't my favorite, but I would say probably third.
It was like my
favorite.
fourth favorite.
Fourth favorite.
Yeah, it's
okay,
not
so you
in my
didn't like
top
it much
three.
at all.
Well, I liked
hated
it.
it.
I like
tough.
Black Mirror episodes that are a little more interesting. When they're that close to reality, I kind of get disappointed a little bit. I like when Black Mirror episodes are like super out there. And this was kind of, it's like people snap and lose their minds all the time in our world. So,
Yeah,
I
people
don't
get
know.
murdered for honking their horns.
yeah, so
Like-
it wasn't that, it wasn't interesting enough, I guess, for me. It was just a murder episode. It was a great thriller, but it wasn't my favorite.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
It did leave you with that classic Black Mirror sinking gut.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what did I just
Well,
watch?
you're like,
feeling.
oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
I didn't. I was just kind of indifferent. I was like, well,
Dead babies, whatever.
Babies, whatever.
dumb bitch got caught. Whatever. Kind of saw that coming.
I was really happy when she got caught. I was like, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Right? When it was,
I just kind of wanted her to get away with it.
Really?
Really? I was too.
She's like,
for some reason,
she got
I
into
was
so
too.
much lengths. You're like, come on, man. I kind of wanted her to get away with it. You know?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
She's got to beat the machines.
yeah.
the machines.
Spoiler: she didn't beat the machines. They
No,
did.
they beat her.
But that just might have been an interesting take. Like, I guess that is kind of a theme too, where the technology always kind of
Wins.
is there or wins in some kind of way, right?
Yeah.
But then that way, yeah, if she got away with it, it wouldn't have won.
Yeah.
So
I wonder-
that is an overwhelming theme in Black Mirror. The technology always finds a way to fuck you over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I like technology, so I don't want technology to be fucking me over. Maybe that's why I don't like this show.
yeah.
A little too close to home for you?
Too close to
How
home.
dare
I
you
just
betray
like
me, my
gadgets.
love?
Yeah.
Like how your debit card has
That shit freaks me
a
out.
signal on it.
Yeah. It's got a Wi-Fi signal on it. What the fuck is that bullshit?
Yeah.
Why you need that, bro?
Yeah.
Well, it's weird because it's not like
And it's not Wi-Fi per se, but it's just so you can tap your credit card on the machine to pay instead of fucking having to insert the chip or swipe it. Mm-hmm.
But like you were saying, we were talking about this yesterday, Daniel and I, but like you said, like it's still a signal nonetheless. So you would assume that crafty criminals could.
Well, I know they already can do it because my brother was telling me about that before. They'll get scanners and they can like just kind of walk by you and scan your credit card information right out of your fucking pocket.
God.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why they have
yeah, I heard
RFID
about
and NFC chip blocking wallets now.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about getting one, but then I also have my door key for my work to get into the like office. So I think it'd block that too, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd have to, like,
If it's like a magnetic or radio signal, right? Yeah.
So I was like, well, fuck. You should make pants that have the back pocket that blocks the RFID chip.
Maybe one day that will just be standard.
Tech pants.
I never carry my. Yeah.
I got my tech pants.
Anyways, yeah. Best to be wary of the fucking Wi-Fi debit cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lesson learned.
We don't need that. Thank you, though.
Okay, well, we're at a little under an hour, so
Yeah.
that's gonna do it for this episode.
Boom.
Next week,
Yes.
we will have posted the second part to this little kind of mini series of the podcast, where we will go through episodes 4 through 6. And I think there's at least 2 of them in here that are pretty interesting.
Yeah.
One of them was a little weird, but we'll get to it.
Well, 6 is something.
6 is something.
Yeah.
It is something. So thank you guys for watching or listening, whatever you're doing. And we'll see you next time.
Subscribe, like, share.
Yeah. Or
come
dislike
back
if you didn't
next
like
week.
this.
And if there's something you want us to review, put it in the comments below.
You know
Yeah, we need ideas. So
what? Do
send
whatever the
us
fuck
ideas.
you want. We don't care.
Yeah. Daniel doesn't give a shit about
Daniel
anything.
doesn't care.
Shit.
All right, guys. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
watching.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.